All right. We left off on chapter 33. He's in here, Minley called to Afu, Dafu, and their grandfather, pointing to the cave opening. Even before reaching the entrance, Agong was already holding the medicine bottle in his hand. As they rushed inside, Minley was relieved to hear Dragon's rasping breath. He was still alive, but as the children and their grandfather saw him lying in the dim light, they stopped, shocked still. Your, your friend, your friend, the boy said in awe, is a dragon? The old man recovered from his surprise. It matters not, he said to them. Quickly, where is his wound? Minley carefully unwound her blanket from Dragon's arm and winced. The gashes seemed to have burned into him like evil coals. The blackness had spread, and his arm looked like a burnt tree. Swiftly, the man pushed Minley aside and began to pour the liquid from the medicine jar over Dragon's black arm. The tonic was a clear yellow-green, with a gentle aroma of fresh flowers and grass, reminding Minley of a spring morning. As it washed over Dragon's diseased arm, his tightly closed eyes relaxed, and the grimace on his face smoothed, as if a deep pain was relieved. The medicine melted the dark poison, and the blackness seemed to be rinsing away, and Dragon's breathing became easier and even. Minley sighed. She hadn't realized until then that she had been holding her breath. She knew, even before the man smiled, that Dragon was going to be okay. "Da'afu," the old man said, and Minley realized that he was calling both of his grandchildren with a single name. "Go home and tell the family what has happened and where I am, or they will worry. I need to stay with the dragon. Tell Amma and all the women to make more medicine, and when it is ready, bring it to me. This dragon will need to drink it when he awakens." "Thank you," Minley said softly. The man turned and looked at her wind-burned face, tangled hair, and eyes shadowed with weariness. "He is going to be fine," the grandfather said to her kindly, and then turned back to his grandchildren. "Da'afu, bring this girl home, and tell Amma to take care of her. She has not slept in a warm bed for a long time." "But I want to stay with Dragon," Minley protested. "I want to help him." "I will stay with him," the old man said to her. "Don't worry, he will be fine. You have already helped him." Minley opened her mouth to argue, but a yawn formed instead. And she realized the man was right, and nodded her head. The boy took one of Minley's hands, and the girl took the other, and they led her out of the cave. Chapter 34. "So, which one of you is Afu, and which one is Dafu?" Minley asked the twins. "My name is Minley." The children laughed. Their giggles were like bells ringing in unison. "I'm Afu," the girl said. "He's Dafu, but you can just call us Da'afu, because we're always together. Everyone does." Minley smiled. The exhaustion from the long night of worry had made her feel heavy and clumsy, but the children's happiness seemed to carry her. Their every word seemed to be mixed with merriness. Their laughter pushed her toward the cheerful yellow patch in the distance. And as they approached the spot, Minley realized that the yellow was flowers. In front of them was a land full of blooming trees. The trees were heavy with bright blossoms, and as the wind blew through the branches, golden flowers showered down like rain. As they reached the trees and breathed in the spicy scent of the flowers, Minley gasped. "It's beautiful," she said. The children laughed again, and the brilliant red of their clothes and the golden yellow flowers of the trees seemed to make Minley's eyes dazzle with color. But their brilliance was a contrast to the stone rooftops of a village below. The homes looked as though they had to be hewed from the cold, harsh rock of the mountain, and Minley saw that the flowering trees were the only things that grew easily from the unforgiving, rough soil. The boy saw Minley's gaze. "That's our home," he told her. "The Village of the Moon Rain." "Village of the Moon Rain?" Minley asked. "That's a strange name. Why isn't your village named after the flowering trees?" "It is," Dafu said. "The story of the Village of the Moon Rain. Over 100 years ago, when our ancestors were first brought here, the land of the village was barren and gray. Everything was dull and colorless, the wind cold and bitter. Still, our ancestors worked very hard. They built houses out of mountain stone, sewed warm, wadded cotton jackets, and planted seeds in the hard dirt. But despite their efforts, the land refused to bear a single plant or flower. However, even though it looked hopeless, our ancestors continued to work. Then one night, when the moon was big and round, the air filled with a strange fluttering sound. Our ancestors thought it was a great storm coming, and they rushed inside. And a great storm was coming. With a crash, the raindrops seemed to fall from the sky. But what strange rain it was! Round and smooth. In the glowing light, the raindrops looked like silver pearls, and when they touched the ground, poof, they disappeared. "It's raining pearls," our ancestors said to each other. "Jewels from the moon." And they rushed out with baskets and bags, catching what they could from this strange storm. Magically, when the raindrops were caught, they didn't disappear, and soon their baskets and bags were full of pearls. But in the morning, our ancestors saw that the drops were not pearls or jewels. In the sunlight, they saw that they were really seeds. But no one knew what kind of seeds they were. Curious, they planted the seeds in the hard earth. And when the moon rose again that night, the strange rain fell again. This time, our ancestors were not fooled, and they just watched the drops disappear into the ground. Catching all those pearls. But in the morning, the planted seeds were sprouting, as if watered by a magic brew. So night after night, the seed rain fell from the sky, and as daylight broke over the land, the seedlings grew higher and higher and higher. Soon, they grew into beautiful silver trees with golden flowers. They were so beautiful, our ancestors planted more and more seeds, and soon the whole village was blooming with hundreds and hundreds of flowering trees. And since then, our home has been called the Village of the Moon Rain. We plant new seeds every day, and every night the moon rain falls, and every morning a new seedling sprouts. Maybe in another 100 years, All this stony land will be covered with trees, and the mountain will be as golden as the moon. And that is the story of the village of the moon rain. So, these seeds rain from the sky every night? Minley asked. Well, every night there is a moon, the girl said. That's why we call it moon rain. And you don't know why? Minley asked. Even though she was tired, she couldn't help but be curious. Both children shook their heads, and before Minley could ask more questions, the boy pointed. Minley followed his hand and saw crimson gate doors, painted with a cheerful greeting. "We're here!" he cried. "Come on, we're home!" And guess what I'm going to say? That's where we stop for today.